Put a great big ball around Marissa and I right now. Protect us in your light. Fill that ball with the Holy Spirit, eliminating all dark, negative flakes, energy that might be within this room right now. Cut any cords that are of a negative nature that would mislead others. We want your truth. We want your wisdom. We want this to be a book that people will understand and it'll make it better in their life. And that's it. So we're very curious, but we want your protection. So, dear Father, please protect us this day. Jesus, protect us. Bring your team in. Bring those that you want in here that need to give us something, some kind of wisdom in the readings that we're going to have here now. So thank you for trusting us to do this work for you. So keep it in the light. Keep everything in the light. And as we always say, we love you, Lord. Lord being our whole team, being God, being Christ, being the consciousness, being the Holy Spirit, being our entire team. We love that you're guiding us. So continue to guide us in the path that you put us on. And let's do this all for the good of you. In your name we always pray. Thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. And Lorna, you can put that in there. The pyramids are on the meridians in order for the other planets to communicate. Look at it as radio waves. They need to be communicating with a physical structure in the third dimension in a certain spot so that they can communicate with the earth plane. And
Wait, in a certain physical spot? This may answer that question I had. It's the Seattle Space Needle and the Statue of Liberty, I think are, okay, go ahead.
They need to be communicating with a physical structure in the third dimension in a certain spot so that they can communicate with the earth plane and the group consciousness. For the earth plane is a group consciousness. Everybody's pulled into this earth plane and everybody's spots are all brought together into one consciousness, and when the other planets can communicate with this, just as we can communicate with the councils from the Andromedas, councils from the Pleiades, they are councils, so to speak. They can communicate with the earth plane through these different places.
Wait, rewind back one sentence.
Read back one sentence.
Yeah,
I want to remind Eden, the reason why we want to know, or I want to know what these mysteries are, is so that they'll go, oh my gosh, these people know what they're talking about. Gee, they wrote a first book. It was called Answers Heaven Speaks. I want to read it. I want to see what they have to say. Answer. Well, our opinion on this remains the same. Our opinion remains in that having faith and trust in that we will bring the book to the people that need to read it and open up their eyes, and will bring to a certain people that will help to bring others to the book. This is the faith that you must have in us in bringing people to this book. There are a lot of people who live in the third dimension only, and these are the people that you are speaking of. You're trying to speak to the people that are in the third dimension, and they say, I see this proof, but once they see this proof, they still will not believe it. They will ask questions. So in your sparked interest around this subject, what we ask is that the questions that are being asked by you to us are out of your wanting to know and your desire to understand. And then we will allow the proofs to come through. And people will see that in the words that are written that we help you with. But in saying it is as if the clients that come in to see a medium and say, tell me where my grandfather left his keys before he died, and then we will know you're real. This is the way that you are approaching it at this time, which is at one vibration. If you approach this from spiritual level and understanding these things, and you see this from your own strong desire to understand these worlds and these things, a different vibration will come through, and a different understanding will come through. Does this make sense? Question. Yeah, but it's a little deflating because it's saying, basically they're saying, don't worry about it. You're going to do all this work, you're going to write this book about all of the Earth's mysteries, and really what it is to satisfy my own curiosity. And anybody else who might want, who I am trying to get to read our first book, we have to leave it up to Eden and the rest of them up there to lead those people to our book. And not necessarily from the book of the mysteries of Earth. answer. But this is the third dimensional ego speaking, and that you are wanting to prove something. But what goes to say, you must leave it up to us anyways and have faith. You may market a book, you may do as much as you want with the book, but we are truly the ones in spirit, God, bringing these people to you. So whether it is bringing them to this book, someone who reads this book may not be interested in spiritual stuff.
Who's talking right now? Somebody just shifted.
I think it's Eden.
Yeah, it is Eden, but somebody else just walked in.
That's fine.
I think it's him. Because I see like a straight over right there. It's a man's outline. And I see a crown on his head. Oh, and it's one of those little spinning things. It's like you know when you see the cells and there's like 4 little things coming out from them, they have the little balls on them, like the molecular things.
Yeah.
Imagine that going and spinning. That's Peter. So Peter has like one of those spinning molecules on his head. But when it's resting, it just kind of sits down. And that's what somebody with one of those right there is standing there. And I said, who are you? And she says, it's you. Oh, it's me. It's my soul just walked in.
It's your soul or higher self?
Let's see, are you my soul or higher self? It says higher self, I'm programmed.
Yeah, the higher self is programmed by the soul. And we've now since found out that the higher self is what we call spirit. Our higher self is in us. The spirit that we talk about that lives in us.
My higher self says the spirit is much, much higher than me. She says the spirit is
right.
the
Spirit
eye
is
of the
the
original God.
That's right. So we have spirit, higher self, soul, Christ, and of course the Holy
Higher
Spirit.
spirit. Higher spirit and spirit.
We have a
Self
higher
and
spirit.
higher self. Soul and higher soul.
We are major projects.
I know.
We are just. No wonder it's a game for them.
Yeah. Well, the game is for them is for us. It's us, but it's them, but it's us, but it's you know what I mean. So this here, so I don't have to hold it anymore. They're not really correcting anything. I'm sitting here going, is there anything to correct, guys? Anything to correct? They're like, no, it's right. I can't believe how well I was channeling back then. Is that when I was pregnant with Madison?
Oh, this is 2012.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that was the 2014.
Oh wait, 2014.
Yeah, I was pregnant with Madison. That's why it's so
'cause
good.
Earlier they came in and they said that you're going to have a daughter.
Yeah, so that's why.
But I think it was before you were pregnant.
So that's why I think it's so clear because I had a direct line connection to God with having a baby in my belly. So that's May of 14. Madison was born in.
February.
So it was
So you
literally,
probably got pregnant during this.
yeah, because I can literally see Madison sitting over there with me.
August, September, October, November, December, January, February.
Yep.
You got pregnant while we were doing this.
Yeah. These are all downloads from Madison. That's why they're so good because I'm going like, how did that come out of my mouth? And the second I signed with Hay House, I turned into a scattered mess because I felt like everyone was judging me. So it took. Yeah, no, this is Madison talking now. It keeps going. No, remember I said Eden. I see Eden, and then I see Madison pop through, and then I see Eden, and then Madison. Eden, and then Madison. They're kind of like going back and forth, but I don't see Madison, my daughter. I see Madison like Madison, the adult. Yeah, yeah. So that's the ball in the middle is the soul, and then there's one little arm that's me, one little arm that's Madison, one little arm that's Eden. No, Eden's above it. And then one little arm that's like 2 other incarnations, and then they go like this. One's Peter, and one's Samuel. So that's me, Madison, Peter, and Samuel. And it goes like this, and it starts spinning. And when it spins real fast, it starts sending all the information down through my soul. And then I'm sitting like this, and on this chair like this, I'm sitting in my soul's stomach. Like me, the human, I'm sitting in my soul's stomach. But whatever they were just talking about, it just shifted. So I wonder if we switched days. And I'm now pregnant right there. Because now all of a sudden Madison's there. That's really cool.
It's all continuous, so I don't see how we switched at all.
Or I don't know if like, we went from one day to the next, like
No, we're still on the same. We only did this in one session. This was one session that we did this tape.
I'm pretty sure I just saw Madison come into my field as we were reading that. Died. 100% charged. Plugged into the wall. Dead.
Which one? Your computer?
So she was recording on Zoom. I just plug it in.
I tell you, this is just weird.
Just sucks the life out of anything electronic. I put charger in my car. Yeah. Poochie, are you feeling good?
I'm gonna pause this.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna pause this.
Were you good with Poochie? Not gonna flood. She's gonna love you.
What?
Poochie food. Poochie, you want food? Look at her.
What's this? How'd you know I had something? How'd you know I had something? Come here. Poochie, come here. Is this what you want? Do you want that? Do you want that? Do you? Huh? Is this what you want? Do you want your food? Do you want a treat? Do you want a treat? Here we go. Here we go. Here, Poochie. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh, look at this. Come here, Poochie. Come here. Yum, 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 yum. Wait a minute, Poochie. Let me get this off.
Has
Here you
a
go.
little bit of Jeff in her.
What?
Madison has a little bit of Jeff in her. She's standing there with a bat. And anyone that tries to astral travel into the room, she's like literally going like 4, and she's smacking their ball and hitting it over the head. Sorry for the headache. Because there's maybe a couple people live on Patreon that maybe tuned in. It's on the public. But when people try and drop in here, it messes with the energy. So I already warned my Patreons. I said, if you try and tune in, you're going to get a big fat headache because you're not going to end up here in here. And it's funny, Madison keeps hitting the little ball of conscious. She goes, whoosh. She's hitting it so they can't come in here. Because there's nosy people that come and they'll try and drop into like my field or your field to see what's going on. And that's why it gets us all like that's why the questions go and stuff, because their thoughts then get mixed with our thoughts. We don't want their thoughts, we want pure God thoughts. Let's see if this charger works. If not, then I'll just use the phone. It's plugged in, Papa. It was already plugged in. So weird. Okay, well, I don't know why I call it weird anymore. It's not weird. It just is. Okay, you can go ahead. Keep reading. What page are we on? Yours is off now, too.
Yeah, I paused it. Okay, Marissa's back. As usual, we had problems with electronics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at the bottom of page 26. And I just got done saying, and anybody else who might want, who I'm trying to get to read our first book, and that's me, Joe, we have to leave it up to Eden and the rest of them up there to lead these people to our book. And not necessarily from the book of the mysteries of the earth. Answer. But this is the third dimensional ego speaking, in that you are wanting to prove something, but what goes to say? You must leave it up to us anyways and have faith. You may market a book, you may do as much as you want with the book, but we are truly the ones in spirit, in God, bringing these people to you. So whether it is bringing them to this book, someone who reads this book may not be interested in spiritual stuff. Someone who's interested in spiritual stuff may not be interested in this stuff. So what we're trying to say is the book is going to sell. And people are going to read these books because of your faith and your passion in this. For if you are going in and writing this book as proof to somebody, the underlying vibration is, hey, check out my book and read it so I can prove something to you so you can go read my other book. This is the underlying fourth dimension vibration. So your passion for what you write is the energy being put out. And in law of attraction, the passion for something is what draws in the people. So this is not deflating in any way. This is us encouraging you to have fun with this, and as opposed to trying to prove something to somebody, just know that it will. But do this out of fun. Question. Is that a roundabout way of you saying that we're wasting our time? Answer, no.
That's funny that you heard it that way, and I heard it as, oh my God, they've been preaching nothing about fun lately, and they were preaching about fun then too, and we just didn't hear them.
The answer is no. Question, okay, so there is a purpose and a reason to go ahead and write the book about the mysteries of the earth. Answer, absolutely, because this is something that you have a passion for. Question, so it's strictly only for me, Joe? Answer, no. What we're trying to explain to you, Joe, is that a writer who has a passion, writes about something they have a passion in, will draw in people. Somebody who writes something to prove to other people that something is there because their ego feels as if they're not good enough without proof will not draw in the right type of people to understand or even be interested in the first book. And this is the second book. It's not to bring people to the first book. The second book is just as you wrote the first book. You were passionate and you understood and you were excited. And this is what brings that excitedness to the people who read it. So in understanding that this book will bring excitement and the information that you are learning, you see these shows that you're watching and you see the excitement in these people's faces when they speak of these things that they have learned. But they can't really prove it. But they're just so excited. This is the type of energy that we're hoping to bring through, so that you will see, quote, wow, this is really exciting. Question. Yeah, and it always has been. Answer. Exactly, because this is a true desire, a yearning for you to want to learn. So approaching this, we are just asking for a shift in consciousness, so to speak. A shift in, quote, this is fun. This is a passion of mine that I've had. And for any of you that are out there that are reading this that have had that passion too, you should check this out, whether you believe it or not, or whatever. End quote. And this will fall into the hands of the people who will read this and say, you know what? This guy may know what he's talking about. Question. Yeah, because, it isn't just going to be finding proof because of the way that I write or we write it. Answer. It's going to be theories, but theories that have proof. So you will see that much of the information as you start watching these shows, there will be holes in their theories that you can fill in.
This is before we watched Ancient Aliens.
I know, but I've watched lots of shows since then.
Is there any shows that we can, what Peter is suggesting is that we watch a show on split screen, and then as you're watching something you've already watched, you can say, now at this point, blah, 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 then they can actually, that's actually what they were showing us a long time ago. They were showing me Intuition Live TV back then, like 7 years ago. And that's what I'm going to be doing with I Am Marissa, Investigative Clairvoyant, is I'm going to have split screen a TV show on, and I'm going to read the energy of it.
I think what we can do is like, God, my ears are so plugged up.
It's the angel standing right behind
terrible. Terrible me flying.
you. Can I give you an ibuprofen or something like that?
No, I've got all this stuff.
Okay.
I took all the medication.
Okay.
My ears are all plugged up. It happens when I get sick. My ears always get plugged up.
Yeah.
So I must have been sick yesterday, and now I got the plugged up, and now the next thing's going to be me coughing. So anyway, I think what I'd like to do, in my own opinion, is to finish this up, get the transcripts, do the cutting and the pasting, and then me writing chapters and all that stuff, write the book. They've already said we need to reread it again. And then I think I'll have an epilogue, which will be another chapter at the very end of the book, that we'll do new, where we will sit in front of a TV. We will
Yeah.
watch some shows.
Hmm.
And it will be kind of like a wrap-up.
But I won't be allowed to hear them. You can hear it, but I'm not allowed to hear it. So you'll be listening to it, watching it, and I won't be able to hear it. But when the guides come in to say, this is wrong, I'll just say, like, this is wrong, either pause it or delete it, or I can just go like this, correct, non-correct, correct, not correct. I don't even need to hear it because I'll be gone, and the guides will just be going in. And then you can pick certain points. This is what who is this over here? We have Jehovah here. Jehovah never comes in.
Got a lot of people.
Jehovah comes in as a genie, and I don't trust him. If my life depended on it, he goes, "Oh, you can trust me," and he did this. That's the mischievous mustache. He said, even the dark can come in if we have a message to give, as long as it's for your highest and best good.
Only if it's okay with God, the Father,
Yeah.
to allow it to happen.
He says, "Oh, the Father lets me run this place," and I heard, and then all of a sudden you just saw a hand go.
Did you take him out?
God sucked him out.
Good.
So I walked outside.
Thank you.
You know, I think the guy across the street worships Jehovah. He's really into this stuff. So I heard him tinkering around out there. Maybe it's his energy. That's funny. But yeah, you go, "Oh, God lets me run this place." What place?
Okay.
He says he has control over the fifth of all world's religions. That's scary.
Let's see. Answer. It's going to be theories, but theories that have proof. So you will see that much of the information as you start watching these shows, there will be holes in their theories that you can fill in. And it really is going to be expressed in really spiritual terms again? Absolutely. There's a missing link in this show in which you watch. They have many followers, but they do not understand the spiritual aspect of it. So as you bring in, and I broke in again, really the spiritual aspect is really the answer? Answer, yes. So as you see, and then I cut in all the mysteries, all the earth's mysteries, not just the pyramids, but other mysteries of the earth? Answer. And this is why we talk of the rooms, because the beings coming in from other planets are trying to keep the souls living on the earth plane at a lower vibration so they cannot become Christed. So it is all spirit. It is all in raising the vibration you become more like God or stay down in a lower vibration. So it is all a battle between light and dark. So when you see these shows, as you watch them, you'll see that there are holes. There are missing things. Excuse me. But if you look into the old religions of the old times, and we do recommend this, to look into the old Egyptian religions and understand this a little bit and read about it, and we can explain some things, and you'll see the congruencies between Egyptians, Christianity, and all the other religions. You will see these things. You will see that many of these beings that they worship were not human at all. And these beings are from other planets. They were worshiping beings from other planets. Question. But they were calling them gods? Answer. Absolutely. They were appearing to them just as the angels would appear to the biblical time people in the etheric plane, in the fourth dimension. They would pop in and they would see them, just as someone may see a ghost. And they would pop in. Some of them would lower their vibration enough to come in as physical beings. Question. You know what, it's 10:30, but I've got one last question. It's actually a little bit off the subject, but it's something that I keep bringing up when I'm sort of in a debate with other Christians in Christianity. Okay, this goes into the whole Paul thing.
This is why the Bible Speaks started, right?
This is the Bible Speaks. So that's it. See, we just cut it off. I must have been thinking at that point, nobody's going to believe this.
That's when we
Nobody's
turned
gonna believe
Ancient Aliens on, and all I heard was laughing. I'm curious, will you read the part with Paul just so Marissa can personally hear it, because I haven't heard it before. Even if it's just like a couple of paragraphs, I'm curious.
You want me to read the Paul
Read the
stuff?
Paul parts. Yeah, I just want to hear it personally, because I tell the story all the time, but I think that I'm probably telling the story wrong, because I think we tell it differently. So I'm just curious, for me as myself, to hear the Paul thing.
Okay, I'm still gonna have. Okay, can I ask them the question, because it hasn't been answered in here before I read the Paul stuff? How do they travel in the third dimension so far? Or do they travel interdimensionally to get to Earth? How do they get here? The UFOs that are up in the sky.
I thought.
Pleiades is light years away. That means years and years at the speed of light away. How can they get here?
So the only thing faster than light, the speed of light, is the speed of thought. And just as a thought can hit and ricochet off another sphere or a shape or someone, the thoughts shoot around like microcosmic lightning bolts. And those lightning bolts are much, much faster than the speed of light. So you thinking of the Pleiades right now, you're now there. So you now there are in an aspect of your soul. So let's say the soul is that little ball up there and has the little sticks coming out of it. There's a version of you that's on the Pleiades. Oh, they're talking to me. You're on Arcturus. So they want to draw it. They said that U equals mc squared, the inertia of an object cannot be faster than that which is the weight of the pull of the gravity. They said they can't travel in the third dimension. There's no ships in the third dimension. What it is they're creating visions for individuals in the third dimension so that people can have experiences, so that people can see stuff, so they can get curious. But there's really no way that they can get a ship into the third dimension. If there's a ship in the third dimension other than one ship, they said, one ship, it's a hoax. So the ones that have they said they found ships or something?
Well, people claim that they have found ships, but they also claim that the government shows up right away and they're gone the next day.
Oh.
So there's never any proof.
Yeah.
There's like never any proof. But they're up there. We see them. We see them every day. People report them every day. But then they just go, bloop, disappear. They can be riding right along next to an airplane. Next thing you know, they turn and they're gone. Just gone. Where do they go?
They're just saying that they are projections. So they said to get this, where is it? It's right here. They said this is how the ships travel.
But at the same time, not only do they travel by, let's say, I understand the thought. We can travel faster than the speed of light, just in thought, but they're also telling us that there are them that are living here on Earth right now.
In bodies.
In actual bodies.
Yeah, they incarnate the same way our souls do.
So how do they get from thought and travel thousands of light years to get to Earth to all of a sudden become third dimensional beings with third dimensional
They're going to frustrate
ships?
you right now, but they're going to say Earth is a state of mind, so Earth is actually there.
Oh.
So like say a video game, say Josh was like, how do you get to World of Warcraft, or the World of Warcraft people and they think they're real? Like say Joshua's game characters, what if they thought they were real? And then they're going like they start to realize, oh my gosh, we're not real, you know, and then so they create a program so that like the consciousness can go into the video game character. So this just died. But this is a perfect example. This is a projection. So this is the thought creates a projection of light that shoots down into the third dimension through all the density of the fourth dimension. In the third dimension, once something hits the third dimension, they said it becomes physical. Oh, that is brilliant. Okay. Take an A, you throw it through the void, it becomes so high frequency and it changes into whatever it needs to turn into. It forgets it's an A, but as soon as it hits the third dimension, it's an A. But it's an A with no beginning and no end. It has no idea what it is. So the ships that end up here are clueless. They go through the void and they forget. They don't remember why they're here. Oh my gosh.
But they said earlier in our text that there are good ones.
Yeah.
There are bad ones.
The bad ones are the ones
bad
that
ones are having a lot of fun creating all kinds of problems.
because they went through the void. They went through the void and they ended up 3D. So 3D is not necessarily physical. 3D is just mind, ego, and awareness. Mind, ego, and spirit. So it makes the physical body. Just like I saw Madison when she was standing in her crib, I saw the real Madison with Michael above her, and I saw the real Madison projecting out of her stomach a hologram. And Madison, my child, who I was looking at physically, was the hologram. So the hologram is us. We think that we're real, but we're not. We're actually the holograms.
So everybody on Earth that is now sitting there with their telescopes and their binoculars and everything and their video cameras, and all of a sudden they videotape a UFO. We're just holograms? We're all just holograms, and we're seeing what somebody has created by thought in a fourth or a fifth dimension that becomes physical in the third dimension?
It densifies, yes, with the ectoplasm from the planet. For there's the etheric energy that surrounds the planet. But look at the planet like a. They want me to pull up that movie, The Matrix. It's
but
like
we have telescopes. We know that the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, exists, and we know that we're a part of the Milky Way galaxy, and we are in a particular solar system where our sun is the center of our solar system. We know physically what we are.
I want to know, can somebody come in that is a science oh, great. Those two always fight. I can't handle them. Freud and Einstein.
Bring in Einstein.
Okay,
he's
Einstein says he knows.
Freud is a philosopher.
Freud.
Freud is.
Ha ha! He called you fraud. Freud is going.
He's a philosopher. He's a philosopher. Einstein was a scientist.
Einstein says, "Thank you for the respect." And Rosemary's like, Einstein. Einstein is not good looking, Rosemary. She goes, but he's so smart. Rosemary wants to talk.
Fine. Rosemary, Einstein, whoever can tell us why we in the third dimension can see physical ships from somewhere. But
they're from there.
It even said, I saw a ship. They made me see a ship from Arcturus, and we were told in a previous session that was either Gabriel or Michael that caused that to happen, because they are the good guys. But we also know that there are ships out there that are not good guys.
Yeah.
And they don't come down here to kill us. They just love to see all the discourse and all the anger and everything that is raised by them coming in and maybe putting their energy into other people, like the media. They put their energy into the media so that the media can be fraudulent, and they can be liars, and they can create such uncomfortable discourse in the world. And they're having fun with that. And on the same hand, we're being told that we have the Michael and the Gabriel and the Uriel and the Raphael, who apparently come from Arcturus or Pleiades or whatever, and they even say in here. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's in this text, the text that I was reading yesterday, that they were trying to reassure us that there are the physical is not just in the third, it's in the fourth and the fifth as well. Above the fifth, there is no physical. But they can actually be physical. And I think Eden came in and said, what do you think I am? I'm physical.
Yeah.
I'm just up here. Well, I'm in the fifth. And I come down to meet you in the fourth.
Yeah, I just need to draw it. It won't be a long chart. It's just a little tiny drawing. And it's exactly what I'm seeing. It's just so interesting. It's like an echo chamber. And we have one particle in us. One particle. It's not the God particle. They want to call it like the spirit particle. Like the Holy Spirit. They call it the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is our beacon. Or it's our walkie-talkie. And that one little cell inside of us, floating around inside of us, can take us anywhere. Like if we had a frequency that was high enough, we could unlock the door for the jailbirds and let them out or whatever, like the angels did. So if we had full access to that Holy Spirit cell, and they're calling it the blank note. Oh, there goes that blank note again. It's a sound. The blank note, that is creation. That is all of creation. So technically we're outside of that creation. So if I can look as my creator self or creator soul or my biggest me, my Holy Spirit, as me as the Holy Spirit, like I am now the Holy Spirit. Oh wow, I just got big. I was like, woo. And I'm looking down at Earth now. And then I say, show me Pleiades. Now Pleiades isn't that far away. So now Earth is here, Pleiades is here, Andromeda is here, Arcturus is here. So there's like little ships above it and stuff like that. Those ships are actually just communication devices where our guides can hang out on them and communicate with us. So the guides are able to, the ships are for our guides.
The ships are our guides?
Yeah, they're our guides.
But they told us earlier that there are some ships that are
Guides gone bad.
guides that have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
Are they, let me ask again, are they fallen angels?
Yes.
So when God in the Bible talks about fallen angels, they're talking about fallen
Aliens.
humans.
Fallen humans, yeah.
But those humans are also created by Christ. They all have their souls, but we also learned in here that they try to trick us so that when we pass away and leave our third dimensional body, that we can choose to continue to go down the dark path, or we can choose to go down the light path. And they do everything they can in this third dimensional world to get us to believe that it's better to go down the dark path. So we literally give up our souls when we die.
It's like this. It's like if a soul is just like an amoeba, like this, we like look like this. And then we have the Holy Spirit inside of us. It's like the brightest light you could ever possibly imagine. So we have a light bulb right here. That's our Holy Spirit inside the soul. Then our soul then thinks in that the brain of our soul is Christ. So that's Christ. So that's the mind of our soul. The soul.
Christ consciousness.
Yeah, Christ consciousness. So Christ is
And the Holy Spirit is within the Christ consciousness.
And this right here, the C, and then there's another C. Those are the C's. Those are the Christ and Antichrist. So Christ and Antichrist. So it's like a C and a C right there. So it's flipped.
Lorna, she's drawing a picture.
I'll take a picture and send you.
Picture.
I'll send you the picture, Lorna.
That's not going to do her any good. She can't
Just so
transfer.
she can see.
I know, but if I'm going to put it in a book.
Yeah. She'll just be curious because Lorna loves this
I know,
stuff.
but you can describe right now
Oh,
what
okay,
you're
I'll just try.
drawing.
So I'm drawing a thing that looks like a peanut with a light bulb inside of it. The light bulb inside is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. Pranic body. So the Holy Spirit does have a body. Pranic means breath, I think. So this is our energy source. This is what keeps us alive. When we die, does that go out? No. Okay, and then the soul then comes and it just goes around a human being, which would be our little, our human. It's here. The soul goes and it connects to us back right.
Are you talking about somebody in a UFO ship coming in and invading another person's space? Or are you talking about the creation of a new human being?
This is our soul feeding us this energy and all the Holy Spirit in it. So they're saying in order for them to understand how this 3D person can see a ship, they need to explain how the soul and the Holy Spirit can go anywhere. And if we take our Holy Spirit that's inside of us, which is right here, and we connect it to our soul, we then become time travelers, space travelers, all that stuff as well. But the human race has not figured out yet how to get their awareness into a part of the brain. And the government gives us fluoride. Everything that is on the earth plane right now is to keep us from getting into this part of the brain. I think it's called the It's not the pineal gland. It's not the third eye. Everyone always says that. It's the amygdala. If the amygdala could have the Holy Spirit within it, we would not experience fear. We would realize that we are superhuman. We could jump off cliffs. We could fly over mountains. We could do whatever we want because we're living in this chess game. And there's this fence around it. The fence is the barbed wire fence with the music that they always talk about. So there's this fence right here. And our souls are just kind of like looking over, watching us living in here. So your question is, how do spaceships get into the third dimension? They're saying they do not. Our awareness goes into the fourth dimension so it can see it, but people have found ships, right?
Yes, and they've taken pictures of it. I mean, they're physical cameras that have taken pictures of UFOs flying in the sky, landing. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of accounts from airline pilots that have seen UFOs do very unusual things. We've had astronauts that have seen UFOs outside of our atmosphere, doing unusual things. Physical ships.
Are they all V or C shaped like this?
No, sometimes they're in shape of like what I saw, which was almost heart shaped with a blue hue around it, to anything that would be like 3 little dots of light, or even just 1 dot of light. Others have actual ships that are circular with domes on the top and lights that shine out down the bottom. We've got pictures of all these.
I just heard I don't look at any of that stuff, but I just heard the
many different types of ships that we have already seen.
Well, what they're saying is most of them are man-made and they're government ran.
Those are government?
The government is experimenting with traveling to other times and places. They're experimenting with time travel, and they're experimenting with going beyond the speed of light so that they can go beyond thought. And they're actually taking people like me and hooking them up to electrodes that can use more of their brain, and they're trying to get this blank note or this God, it's not a God particle,
but
to align with that so that the person can just disappear like Jesus did.
I just don't see how we have the technology to have things just disappear.
Well,
I mean,
people in the future do.
Right in the eyes of a pilot driving a pilot's flying his
Tesla
plane.
figured out time travel.
They just disappear.
Tesla says that he figured out time travel.
Tesla?
And he's here right now. He says, I figured out time travel. Time travel exists. He says we can only travel about 14 to 17 minutes into the past or future, and the person would die. So they started to be a little bit hesitant about sending their people in the future and the past, but there's people that were willing to die. How did Tesla die?
What?
How did Tesla die? I think he died in his own machine.
I'm not sure how he died, but he's probably the smartest man on earth, and he's never taught.
It's right here.
Nobody. I mean, the internet talks about Tesla and bring up all the different things. I mean, he even created energy from water, but they shut that down. The government shut that down because that screws up the oil industry and cars and all this other stuff. Because then people wouldn't have to have oil. And so we've got oil on the earth. We need it because it propels us. But Tesla figured out how to use water to propel us, but they shut down all his stuff. Everything Tesla's done has gone into like a box, and they just don't.
He was murdered.
I can believe it.
He was found dressed in his bed, and his safe was broken into, and many of his papers were missing. Strangely, the FBI seized all of his things immediately after the time of his death, and also threatened many people that had obtained items that belonged to Tesla about publishing his work. He was constantly running out of money and having had to move from place to place, and in doing so, constantly he would leave boxes of paperwork behind. So many people ended up getting a hold of these papers. He says, "I have it all right here for you guys if you want it." He's like, "But it'll be dangerous." He says, if you want to interview me, he says, I can tell you the secret to time travel.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's
Oh
do
my
it.
God. He says it's going to be a lot of drawings, but that I can just like sketch them. But it goes from there's like I see like water bubbling in these like beaker things, and I see airplanes. And then I see him actually showing that the nuclear fusion from stars can be used to generate an entire world of electricity that electricity should not even be charged for, because we are the electricity. And that oh my gosh, he says, and you wouldn't believe this, he says red has a higher frequency than dark brown. I have no idea what that means. Red has a higher frequency than dark brown. Red has, I don't know what that means, frequency. He says, so look at this. He says, look. He says, are you sure you guys want to know this?
We may not understand it, but you can tell us.
I'm
And then there